Well, good evening. Welcome back to VP4TV. We're back for Friday night 9 ball. It's going to be a quick one this week because we still, the last time I checked in, we still had about 7 spots available. We might get 1 or 2 more in before then, but it looks I think it's exactly the same. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 7 seats available. We're not going to get a full house. It is holiday time as well. I'm off for the next 2 weeks come Sunday, and over here in the UK it's getting to that time of year where people are going away, so probably the same everywhere else as well when you think about it. So we've got Bankster, Jezdev, John Boo, Christian, Larry, Simanx, Spectre, Don, Stefan and Travelling TT. So obviously the two favourites are Larry and Spectre Don out of that lot, but it is a handicap tournament, so provided you can make use of that handicap, strange things always can happen. And that let's have a look again, quick refresh. It could be on the cards, but Larry and Spectre Don are probably favourites to get to the final. We've got about a minute left. I want to do a quick check on the bar table World Championships, because we've got a match scheduled there, or at least another match scheduled. There was earlier when I double checked, there might be more. If we look down, yeah, we can see that Cobra and Bedhead have agreed their match, and it goes tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. I'll be there for that. That's I don't know whether it's a first or second round match, because there obviously was buys in the tournament, but they're going to have their outing tomorrow night. We've got the next match to schedule is Brainful out in Bankster, which is Tuesday at 7 PM. I'll be there for that one. And next Saturday, so a week tomorrow, we've got Larry and Semi Pro, and I'll be there for that as well, because that's all on my first week off, so I'll be able to get coverage of them. Back to Friday night 9-ball, and we are, in fact, I think the bracket's probably just about to be, in fact it is drawn, so it is going to be quick. We can see that we've got Larry against Travelling TT, we've got Stefan getting a bye, we've got Simanx getting a bye, Jezdev getting a bye, Bankster getting a bye, Christian, in fact they've all got a bye, so there only is one match in the first round, and it's going to be Larry and Travelling TT. All the other players are all through to round 2. Good evening to Cobra. We won't keep you waiting too long tonight, Cobra. You'll be able to see the lot of this, I would think. So the room will be up, and I think Travelling TT is doing his own stream, or his or her own stream on Twitch. So Larry's already in. We're just waiting on Travelling TT arriving, and then we can get going. So Steve had an update planned for VP4, as he mentioned in the stream last night. I can't remember what the fix was, but while he was, thinking about that at some point, he was given another couple of bugs to look at, so there might be a delay on this update. It's not anything to do with the game itself, it's just updates for bugs in the browser and stuff like that. Larry pointed out something to do with the NRT tournaments, when you're getting the dates up for the proposals. There's a bit of a glitch there. There's also a bug that I found in the messaging system when you're trying to delete messages and stuff. So here we go. We've got a race to 7, of course. It is handicap. Travelling TT is getting 7 and out, which we will definitely need against Larry. Question is whether Travelling TT is going to be good enough to get that far in a rack given the opportunity. Straight away, now, did a ball go down? Yes, it did. The 7 ball went down, which obviously is a money ball, and it comes back up, so Travelling TT stays at the table. And Larry's got a slightly tricky one on this 1 ball to get reasonable shape on the 2. He might have to go, he has to avoid traffic here, he might have to put check on this cue ball. And he's run into the 6, and it's not done him any harm. Now I think he's got to come out behind this 8 ball. I don't know whether he wants to try and check this past the other side of the 8. He hasn't really got high enough on it. He wanted to be shooting that into the side there. So it's now a dodgy cut into the side, and the cue ball running up table. He's played that well. That was well controlled. Needs another good one though. Well, he's content to see. This is a danger with 7 and out. Larry's left himself a tricky 6 ball that isn't a gimme, but he's got it wrong side of the 7, so he's maybe going to have to tweak this as well. This cue ball, yeah, and he's almost overcooked it. But he's got there, and again this is still a little testy angle to read. So Travelling TT won the lag, potted a ball in the break which came back up, and then I'm not sure exactly what he played, but from that opportunity by Travelling TT, Larry took his chance and ran out. It was well done. That's why it's going to be tough for Travelling TT to get much out of this. Larry's break gives him the 4 ball, and he may well just push right onto this 9 here. I think he can push this 1 through and sort of drop onto the 9, although he doesn't look as if he's doing that. Well, I mean, that was, I don't know what he was trying there. It certainly didn't work. I think he could have still be even, he might have not been able to push the 1 past the 9 clean, but he could have still done it and still had decent cover behind that 9. Well, Travelling TT's been asked a question, and straight away fails on the 1. Now, does the 1 cut? Well, it does, but it's very tight. Yeah, very tight. Good evening to Brainfill out. It's going to be a quick tournament tonight, only 9 signed up. And welcome to Spectre. Hang on a minute, I pressed the wrong button there. Well, he needs to make sure he gets high enough up the table to be able to see the 5. Look at this cue ball. So, Travelling TT's finding out very quickly what the punishment is for making mistakes. He's had 2 shots when he's been at the table. In the first rack he had the 1 shot after he had broke, and then he had a chance that was given by Larry with a poor safety to roll that one into the side pocket. Didn't get that, and on both occasions he's had the ultimate punishment, apart from the fact Larry, I think, has almost done himself in the 8 ball here. He can just squeeze round past that 9, but you're going to have to use the rail, and there you go, the mistake's been made. And this is what's going to happen. You know, Larry doesn't quite get there when it's 7 and out. He's going to gift rack opportunities for Travelling TT. So that's a big trail from Larry. That's always the danger when you're given 7 and out. You can do most of the hard work, but then if you make the mistake at the wrong time, you're just gifting the rack to your opponent. And that's exactly what happened there. And simply because he didn't get good on the 8 ball. Well, again, Travelling TT's, I presume that was an attempted bank or something, but it's immediately letting in Larry to have another go. Good evening to Martin. So this tournament tonight should be over in a couple of hours at the most, I would think. Well, Larry's lost his line, and he might have got away with it, and he has done, because he was a mile off with that 2 ball there. Yep, we just had 9 in, 7 empty spaces, so this is the only first round match. All the other players all got a bye. They're all playing their second round matches. Well, a dead set combo there on that 5-6. That is absolutely plumb. Now, Travelling TT, I think, was trying to play some sort of billiard onto the 5-6 there, and that's another gift this time given to Larry. Now he's got ball in hand. Yep. I actually had to go to bed this afternoon. I was falling asleep, and I actually went to bed and I had a sleep for a couple of hours. I think I went about 3:15 in the afternoon and woke up at 5 o'clock. Well, Larry's got the angle to get across the table. So Travelling TT so far has just had bits and pieces and not made anything of them. And Larry back into the lead, although it should be 3-0. Yes, I actually restarted a trip. I started another trip on the harsh Russian map. It's actually a 400-mile trip that I've started, and I've only done about maybe, well, I don't know, maybe 20 odd miles on it, so I've got still over 400 odd to go, which will take a good number of hours. I've got the old Mario map installed on Euro Truck. Now the old Mario map is a map where it was probably the first combination map that we had in Euro Truck. It's been out for years and years. One of the oldest combo maps. But the thing is that it's an amalgamation of a lot of stolen maps. That's why it's a bit controversial. A lot of people don't play it. Some people do. It's got very old maps in it, but it's huge. It's a huge map, and I've got it up and running. I've got about 5 or 6 different profiles going at the moment. And Travelling TT having another go at a bank, and that poor ball just kept dead straight. Well, Larry has to get over the right hand side. He's got enough angle to do that. He's judged the pace well on it. So you've got all the map DLCs now. Well, now you're actually looking good. Where you can start trying some combo maps. I'll tell you something, for a rookie truck driver in Euro Truck, the one thing you don't want to be doing is driving the harsh Russian map. I'll tell you that straight away. I can guarantee you would have disasters on it. I know to end the stream. What does that mean? Didn't look like Euro Truck, at least the version I played years ago. Well, Euro Truck, there was the original game. That's what it was called. It was called Euro Truck. I had it when it came out. It wasn't very good, to be honest with you. But Euro Truck 2 is a whole different ball game compared to the first version of it. I keep hitting the wrong bloody button tonight. I don't know what it is. The only thing about the thing about Euro Truck is if you do what I do and you have a lot of map combos installed, there's a lot of downloading to be done and setting up the map combos. It takes, I mean, for some of the big map combos that I put in the game, it can take a couple of hours to get them downloaded and get them all installed. And then I go looking for truck mods as well. I've got 2 or 3 favourite trucks that I like to download. And then you're always waiting a new version. I'll tell you something, you won't have all the DLCs for that long before the new there's new DLC coming out. The Balkans map is coming out for Euro Truck pretty soon, and we'll be on version 1.48 very soon as well. So then all the map combos all change again. That it's a constant cycle. It's a constant cycle. There's forever being updates. So Larry's got himself a comfortable lead now. He's 4-1 up. Had a go at a bank. The inevitable is going to happen here. Larry's going to win this. It's just a case of waiting on that opportunity that he's going to get. Well, Oh, that's a trick shot. Well, it's Euro Truck's certainly great with a wheel. It's one of the best driving games when you've got a wheel. And there's quite a few other truck driving games, but you know, some of them, there's one or two that'll get good aspects about them that Euro Truck doesn't have. There's a few of them where you can get out your truck, like this Alaskan truck driver that's coming out. You can get out the truck. You have to get out the truck because you have to connect up the cables on the trailer. You know, you have to prepare. Alaskan truck driver, you have to buy food. You've got a home base that's got a cooker and a microwave. You have to buy food and feed yourself, as well as taking rests and things like that. There's good things in there. Euro Truck, you can't get out your truck and do anything like that. They don't have that sort of reality side of it where you have to go and get fed and things. There's a few. There's also that German one I've got as well. I think I've tried most of them. You've got On the Road, which is a German truck simulator, and you have to get out the truck and go and sign the manifest before you pick up the goods. You have to do stuff like that. Euro Truck doesn't have any of those things, so you don't really have you've got a driver in the cab. When you're outside the truck and you look in it, you can see your driver, but you don't. You can't get out the truck and do things. So you know that might still come. It may well be a long way off though. But I'm kind of thinking that you know, there might be something in the pipeline if they're going to ever bring out a newer version or an updated version of the game. But I mean, it's been going for 12 years, and it's, you know, because it's got such a big mod community, and the developers are constantly updating as well. There's a lot of activity still going on in the game. It's not as if it's a game that's dying a death. It's still very active. Well, Euro Truck is a bit like that for a beginner. If you start Euro Truck, it's a grind at the start. You start off just doing hired jobs where you're given a truck and you pick a job and you go and deliver the goods for it, and you keep doing that. Because you're such a low-ranked driver and you don't have all your qualifications, it takes you a grind to build up some money. That's why there's cheat mods to give you money early on and get your rating up early on, so that you don't have to go through that grind. And that's what I do, because I just want to get into the map. That's what I used to do right at the start before I discovered all the mods and stuff like that. Yeah, well, you start off, you're only going to be really low rank, and it'll take a while. But after you've done a few jobs, the one thing to be careful of is don't go to the bank and get a loan too early, because you're not earning enough money, and each month you're going to have to pay back some of that bank loan. So if you're not bringing an awful lot of money in, and you've not been able to hire any buy your own garage yet, you need a fair bit of money to be able to buy your own garage, buy your own truck. So it's a slow grind to start with. Yeah, if you're doing jobs and you're only getting like 5,000 and 6,000 euro for them, then you need to keep doing that for quite a while. Well, somehow or other, Travelling TT is back to within 1 here, and now it's getting dangerous for Larry, although Travelling TT's going to have to try and kick at this one. Fell short of the mark, and now Larry's got a free go to get out. There's a good Volvo truck mod to get, which has got. See, I like this truck for certain map combos where you're doing long haul trips, and it's got a huge fuel tank, and it's got multiple combinations of wheel sets that you can have. That's a very good mod to get. And I like obviously some of the Russian trucks for the harsh Russian map that I use, because you need a good truck on it. But if you're getting used to the DLC maps and travelling all over Europe, the harsh Russian map is something totally alien. It's something that you'll never experience in a normal Euro Truck game, because it's a full-scale map. I mean, the trip I'm on is 400 odd miles, and that's what it is, 400 odd miles along this road, but there's all the sort of traps and bad roads and everything you have to overcome. Totally different game when you're on that map. And jobs can take days to do. Well, Larry again is in the danger zone here. He's down to the money balls, and he's going to be lying on top of this 9 ball, and Travelling TT better get ready here, because from 4-1 up, Larry's trying the thin cut in this 9. This is tricky, and in it goes. Well, he's making hard work of it now, Larry, but he's got that little comfort zone again. Couple of racks in front. 3 ball goes in. And he's going to be sort of in no man's land in the 1 ball. That was well done. Again, he's running loose though. Good evening to Simon. This is a bit dodgy, because obviously the 4 ball is going to have to be made with a combo in the, or the 8 ball is going to have to be made with a combo in the 4. And he's just going to have to try and leave this ball in the open. Drag the cue ball off that too there to stop it running away. That was well controlled. Now this, he has to make sure this 8 goes in. He doesn't want to leave it over the bag, because again, like that, that's a gift. If Travelling TT can play the billiard onto the 8 or chip this 4 onto the 8. I think it's a bit trickier than it looks though. Yeah. So again, it's a chance that has come and gone. It wasn't easy. Well, he's got a nice angle to just come out far enough for the 7, and he should be on the hill. Oh, so Simax has won his first match against Jesdev. Now, that looks like John Boo has taken out Spectre Dawn. I can't see the result because my little information thing's right in the middle of the screen at the bottom. But it looks like I can see a J, and that John Boo has won that match. Hang on a minute. Where the hell's it going? Well, there's a surprise. John Boo beats Spectre Dawn. So John Boo would have been getting, again, a decent handicap. And what was he getting? He's getting a 5-ball, was he? Well, obviously, it's either one or two things. Spectre Dawn was making mistakes, or John Boo was getting to the 5-ball. Clearly, that's what was happening. So Spectre Dawn's straight over to the 1-loss side. Meanwhile, Larry's 1 away. Well, this is where you have to get a hold of the cue ball and just come back off this 1 ball for the 2 into the side. It's not a difficult shot, you just have to get a bit of dig in it. You don't need a lot, you just need to make sure you can back away from the 9. Now you need to, well, that'll do it. And now you don't want to scratch the top corner by not doing anything with the cue ball here. So just a little cut in on the 3 just so that you drop past the side pocket. I see that you just got to drop past the side pocket. Travelling TT's touch is no good as far as that goes. That needed to be a lot more gentle, and that's a chance gone purely and simply from the technical side of things of executing the shot. There was nothing difficult about it. You just have to drop the 3 in and just feather light touch to drop through and see the 4 ball. And that's a big fail to end up there in the 4 ball. Yep, there only was one first round match and this is it. All those other guys are all in the middle of their second round matches. Well, Larry used the big pocket there with the 6 ball sitting next to it. He's come up smelling of roses on the 6 ball as well. And I think he's about to put Travelling TT out of his misery if he can miss the 9. And he didn't want to be there on the 7 ball, I don't think. Because I think, what's the angle like? Yeah, he's just slightly the wrong angle, and that's why he's missed the 7, because he had to spin the cue ball across. Well, Travelling TT has got a cut in the 7 to get another rack. And another one goes away from Larry there. Once again, the mistake was made. So 4 ball goes in, nothing good on the 1 though. I don't know whether you can push through in that one and just try and drop up behind the 7 and 9. He's gone all out for the cut. That was well done. It's going to be hard work though, because if you try and come off that 2 ball to get to the 3, you're probably going to scratch. So for any latecomers, I had a quick look at the schedule for the bar table World Championships. We've got a match, big match on Sunday night between Cobra and Bedhead, and that kicks off at 8 o'clock British Summer Time. I'll be there for that. Or is it Saturday night? What made me think it was Sunday night? I don't know anything about this Just Stop Oil thing. I saw something in the news there. There were, I think there was protesters in the cricket. I never saw that, but I heard about it. And then they were talking to somebody from Wimbledon about the security arrangements to stop these numpties protesting, but I don't know anything about them. There's always lunatics somewhere in the world. Well, it's another gift for travelling TT. Got to watch the scratch though. And all of a sudden, he's breathing down Larry's neck. And I certainly wouldn't be part of the Just Stop Oil, because my car needs petrol, and for that we need oil. Well, that 9 is a combo, I think. Well, the only problem is Larry couldn't get to the 1 to make the 9. But, well, this is really tricky. Again, this 8 ball, if it catches the end of the point, it won't go in. It's tricky to cut that and catch the edge of the 8. Yeah. It was never ever going to go in if you get it like that. Well, Bankster goes through by 7 racks to 4 against Christian. Who's waiting on the outcome of this? Stefan's waiting on this result. And Larry again got to get back onto this 4, and he's left that short. I mean, he would have liked to have been a lot nicer on this 4 ball. Certainly no problem with the angle to at least be able to see the 5. He's going to have to leave it at distance, and again it was tricky. That 4 ball was tight. So it is a chance for travelling TT. Now the worst thing that will happen here is hooking himself behind the 6 if he goes too far up the table. Now there's the problem. They're going to have to spin that, and I don't know whether that'll be enough. You've got to get a tighter line to the 6 ball to spin it though, past that 6 and catch the 5 enough to pot it. And that was well done. Well, can he hold himself together here? This 7 ball's not going to be easy, whatever happens. No, I never seen that, but then again, I never watched the Chelsea Flower Show. So there's Travelling TT's chance possibly gone there. And again, this is... He's just got to get a hold of the cue ball here unless he wants to let it run. He's letting it run. The only danger, of course, is a scratch, but he's well away from that. So this match is over. So Larry goes through. Less than convincing, shall we say, Larry. So that is the first round complete, albeit there was only one match in the first round. And of course we've got the third round matches underway now. We've got John Boo against Bankster. We've got, in fact, we've got Simanx waiting on the winner of the Larry Stephan match. Well, I think we'll go in and watch a bit of this Bankster John Boo match. What's the story here? We've got John Boo getting the 7 ball. I mean, what actually is their protest? Is their protest, I mean, is it to stop, them drilling for oil? Is it to stop dealing with Saudi Arabia and countries like that? I mean, what's it actually about? As I say, I've not been paying much, so I don't know what their gripe really is. Okay, I mean, just stop oil, but I mean, just stop what about oil? That's what I want to know. So if you're saying that they threw orange powder in the garden at whatever you call it, is that maybe was that the same protesters that were at the snooker then? Because they did the same thing there. Well, the dependence on oil will stop as soon as it runs out. Well, this is going pear-shaped for Bankster. He's going to have to jump and cut that 7. See, this is you know, they're looking for publicity to their cause by disrupting things and making assholes of themselves, and all they're doing is just ruining things for normal people that are going about their normal business or watching these events, where you know they've paid good money to go and watch these things, and you get lunatics coming in doing stupid stuff. Well, Bankster squares the match, but straight away he's scratched. And we've got all the balls in the bottom half of the table, or the top half, depending on what way you're looking at it. Well, that was a delicate little touch. That's just gone to the rail too soon. I thought the rainbow thing was a gay thing, or what do you call them? Not gay. What's the LBG something or other? I can't remember the abbreviation of the LGBT community. Is it that? Is that no? Is the rainbow flag not theirs? Well, a nice little bump in the 7 there for Bankster. Aye, the LGBT, aye. Oh, watch the cue ball. Oh, that knocked in the door twice there. And you've got these riots going on in Paris, where the police shot that boy. But you see, there you go. They're out rioting. There's people, cars get burnt out. You know, these French rioters think they're doing a thing, protesting against the police actions, and yet they're destroying people's property in the process. Is that meant to be a good thing? And have we had the full story? I mean, has anything come out to say how exactly the police ended up shooting this boy? I mean, you would imagine the policeman did it in self-defence for a particular reason. So until you hear the full story of what happened, or whether there's any video evidence, I don't know. But you see, I watch very little television nowadays. I've said that a few times. I do not watch a lot of telly, and it's really I only catch up with the news in the mornings before I go to work. I do know that Andy Murray's drawn a fellow Brit in the first round, and that Andy Murray hasn't been seeded, so that means it is going to be even tougher for him. It's tough enough for him anyway. He might get through the first round match, but then he's going to come up against Tsitsipas, or whatever his name is, number 5th seed. So Murray's time at Wimbledon is probably going to be short-lived. He's nowhere near the level he has to be at to surviving very long at Wimbledon. Yes, I'll give him a good, because the guy that he's playing in the first round's 200 and whatever it is, 260 odd ranked in the world. So Murray should be favourite for it, but I don't think he'll get past the second round. And a mistake from Bankster, missing the 9 ball, and John Boot, nice little bank, and we're back all square, 2 apiece. Well, the news has always been a case of you're told what you need to know. That's the way it is, and that no matter what country you're in the world. Obviously, in certain parts of the world, the news is very much dictated by the government, and that's not to say that it's not the same over here either, because then again, you don't know that. It's always on a need-to-know basis. The public need to know that. Yep, the biggest disappointment for me is it was always a tradition for me to watch the complete final round at the Open Championship when the golf is on later on in July, and now I have to find a stream to be able to do that. The other thing is, of course, I'm working on a Sunday usually, but then again, the time I get home, the leaders don't go out till about 3 o'clock on a Sunday, and now I have to make do with a good quality stream if we can find it. Who killed Dando? You talking about the newsreader? Was that not him that had the same surname as Freddie Mercury? Freddie Mercury's real name, Bulsara. I mean, there's a thing there. There was a nice looking girl. What was that all about? You know, she had a big... she was like one of the #1 at the BBC. She would have went on to do loads of things. And some lunatic kills the poor woman. I mean, the same thing with, you know, you get these people that they're clearly not right in the head. That's the first thing. Because they're listening to voice. I mean, the guy that killed John Lennon was listening to voices telling him to go and kill John Lennon. An absolute nutcase. I wonder what, you know, I just like to think, what would John Lennon be doing now? He'd probably, I mean, he'd be about the same age as McCartney and Elton John. Well, Elton John certainly was looking his age. I watched all of his gig. I enjoyed it. But to see him try to walk about in that gold suit, he looked as if he had hemorrhoids. Oh, I mean, he would have definitely had a few things to say about what's going on in the world. You see, McCartney was at Elton's gig. I saw Paul McCartney there. I think that opera, that gospel choir, they were on stage for a couple of the songs. I think they could have been on the stage for 2 or 3 more of them. They were good. But I have to admit, none of the guests that came on, I had no clue who they were. Absolutely no clue. The guy in the pink suit, no clue who he was. The guy that came out to sing Tiny Dancer, I had no clue who that was. The lassie in the plastic dress with the bikini underneath, I don't know who the hell she was. Not a clue. He might be a boring man to you, but he's been one of the most successful songwriters of all time. Just go look at the stats. So, back into the lead. Oh, it's a 2-rack lead now. Cue ball. Oh, of course, aye. You know, music moves on. The problem is I don't pay much attention to the music nowadays. Most of the folk that I would listen to are all dead anyway, and they were all long before Lennon and McCartney. Well, we've got a problem with the two ball, but that kick has well, it's freed it up, but Bankster's got away with it as far as leaving anything on. Yeah, well, I mean, what was her name again? I mean, clearly she was only in it for the money. I mean, that is just blatant. She was only ever in it for the money, to see what she could get out of him. But you know, that's her. That she's had her time in the limelight. She had her time in the limelight, and she's never going to be heard of again. Well, it's pretty tight to go up and down and try and get past that 5 ball to get the 2. You've got to get a very fine line. I think he checked the cue ball to try and, to try and straighten the angle, but he didn't get the line to start with. Heather Mills, yeah, she was a bitch. I remember seeing her on television before she had got mixed up with Paul McCartney, and she was goody, and she was on the breakfast television, and how well she's done, having lost the bottom half of her leg, and she's a role model and all of that crap. And then it wasn't long before her true colours came out. So Bankster burying John Boot. Oh aye, she was in it all the way. I don't know. I think there's enough of that 3 ball. No, there isn't. I thought there was enough of that 3 ball showing there. Oh, well, the thing is, see, people like that are always going to make a fortune, because there's plenty of suckers that want to hear their story, and there's plenty of gullible people out there in the public eye who are willing to go along with them. It's all about making headlines and selling stories. Well, that's no good, is it? Oh, it is, because I forgot about the money ball. There we go, first time tonight. Well, John Boo is staying in touch. Of course, John Boo having taken Spectre Dawn down, Larry survives his second match more comfortably by 7 racks to 1 over Stefan. Now, is it going to be an 8-9 combo eventually, or a 6-9 combo. What am I talking about? Oh, that's a 2 ball. I thought that was the 8 ball that was up the up the table there. Well, it's more than likely going to be a 6-9 combo. This is just running a wee bit too far up the table, so it still should be fine. A wee bit more of a cut than you would like, and there's where the mistake gets made. You know, getting a wee bit more comfortable in that angle, everything would have been easy, and John Bush just thrown away his chance there to square the match. There was something I learned. Yet was it yesterday? What was I watching? I was watching that quiz show. What's it called? Eggheads. When I was at my dinner, Eggheads on Channel 5, and there was at the commercial break, or just before the commercial break, one of the Eggheads asks a question, and then they give you the answer when they come back after the break. Now, this was interesting because I didn't know the answer, and I did what most folk do. And the question was, when you reach 100, in the UK of course, when you reach 100, how many cards of congratulations do you get from the King between the age of 100 and 110? And then they give you the answer when they come back. So there was me sitting doing what most people do, going, right, you get one at 100, then one at 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110. And I'm thinking, oh, the answer's 11. And it isn't. And because what I didn't know was, Inspector Don survives, is that you get one when you're 100, and if you live until you're 105, you get another one at 105, and you'll get one every year you live after 105. So there's something boring and interesting that I learned. That's why I watch quiz shows, because you learn things like that. So, we do have a game on here. John Bush trailing by 1. And he's got a nice open table here that if he can just manage the cue ball, he should be able to get to that 7. And this is a big test, because he's fairly straight in a 5. He can push through and come back up the table. He didn't want that though. He didn't want that. And that 7 ball is horrible. It's the worst place in the table to have that ball. And John Boo gets a decent enough kick. And he may well still have another chance here, because Bankster's going to have to do something good to get anything out of that 7 ball. If he makes this combo, obviously, and then gets the 6, he's going to have to do well to get that cue ball in a good line. He wants to be up the top end of the table. He doesn't want to be playing the 7 from this end. And he decided against a combo. Well, the thing is, you know, he's not going to get He's forced John Byrne to kick the 6. And Bankster's in exactly the same position now that he has a pot in the 6. He's now got to try and get up the top end of the table, and he's got a nice angle to get there. Well, that's even stranger that he decided to kick it in, and now he's got himself in a hole. And John Boo only needs a 7 ball, which he might end up getting here with ball in hand. So Bankster's gone about this entirely wrong. He refused the combo to start with, then he goes to kick the 6 in, and he ends up hooked behind the 8. So everything he's done there's all backfired on him. And now he's going to hit the 7 and bring it into play. And just has to hope he gets lucky. And he hasn't, and that's a gift. And we're all square here. Well, you live or die by your shot choices, and Bankster's shot choices there were all wrong. Because not one of them worked out, and the inevitable then happened, because he was then forced into kicking at the 7 himself, brought it into play, and John Boo helped himself. So the tournament's been on for an hour and, 5 minutes. We've got Larry in the winner's side, Spectre Dawn trying to battle through the one-loss side. You know, it's more than likely going to be them in the final, but the danger for Spectre Dawn is the one-loss side, the fact that it's only races to 4. So Spectre Dawn's the one that's under pressure. Good evening to Tam. Is it holiday time for you, Tam? Because I'm off from Sunday. That's me off for a fortnight. Do my last shift on Sunday. Hopefully it's a short one. And then I've got Wimbledon for the next fortnight. And I'll be able to watch all of it. And I've got the cricket. And England look as if they're going to struggle to get a result in this second test, by the way. I think they finished almost 100 short of the Australians. I'm going to bore you with cricket because I love the test cricket. And Australia are in a strong position. What, is that by choice that you're down to 3 days a week? I mean, I'm working part-time hours anyway, and I have done for the last 9 years. Well, I was saying earlier, Tam. Oh, good evening, good afternoon to Bill. I was saying earlier, I got home today. I finished early on. I finished at 10:15 this morning, as I usually do on a Friday and a Saturday. And I did my shopping. I did my big shop before I come down the road. Got in, had something to eat. So that was what, about maybe about 11 o'clock this morning. And then I got the PC on. I was messing about, checking emails and all of that stuff. And at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I felt so tired because I had something to eat. But I say I normally have a nap. I normally sit in front of the telly and fall asleep for half an hour. But I didn't. I had come up to the PC. And at 3 o'clock, I was dead on my feet. I had to go to bed. I went to bed and I fell asleep for 2 hours. Woke up at 5. Got my dinner and get ready for Friday night 9-ball, which is going to be short tonight for the latecomers. We only had 9 in. People are probably... it is holiday time this time of year. So it's reasonable to expect that people have gone elsewhere. Oh, I cannot prevent them. I've got to have a nap. I mean, my brain, as soon as I eat something nowadays, within half an hour of eating, I am out on my feet. I just want to fall asleep. And usually it's in the middle of the Sweeney when I'm watching it on ITV4. Although I've seen every episode a dozen times and I know pretty much all the lines. By the time I wake back up, the end credits are on. That's the type of stuff I watch. All the old stuff that I've seen 100 times, that I watch Minder again. It's they keep doing it in a cycle. They show all the episodes of Minder, all the episodes of the Sweeney, and then it'll come back round again. So the first episode of the Sweeney on the television's got Brian Blessed in it. I know that straight away. And then Minder, you've got all the episodes with Dennis Waterman in it, and then you've got the other episodes when Dennis Waterman quit with that other guy. There was about 11 series of Minder, and I'll just watch all of them again. And that's the same with MASH. If you watch Channel 50 on Freeview, MASH is going full cycle. It's almost at the end of the series again. They show like 3 or 4 episodes a night, and it's about to get to its climax again, and then they'll start rerunning it again. You can watch it for the start. So if ever you've never seen all episodes of MASH, you can watch them. All the stuff I used to watch when I was a kid. I used to rush home on the Thursday night back in the 70s, the mid-70s. I used to rush home. We used to go to the youth club, and on a Thursday night I'd dash out so I could get home for 9 o'clock and watch the Sweeney and then go to bed and up for school the next day. Nice little combo by John Boot. So we've got Bankster on the hill. We've got John Boot trying to hang in there. Got himself nice in the 3. Now I think he just wants to leave the cut in this 4 ball from where he is. I don't think he wants to do much more. And he should be able to come out behind the 9. Well, I don't watch any new stuff. Right, I can tell you there's loads of stuff on iPlayer, all these series that have been on in the BBC and everything. I've never seen any of them. There's nothing I've seen because I simply don't watch telly. I don't have time to sit up at night and watch stuff like that. And I prefer watching the old stuff that I used to. I'm even watching on the buses. On the non-politically correct on the, but now they're showing what do you call it on that Scotland channel? I couldn't believe it. They're showing it 8.5 Optimum, but I bet they're bleeping out all the poofs, if you know what I mean. That Sergeant Major Williams says they now lower the volume whenever they say something that's now not politically correct. But at least they're showing it. Now, I've never heard of Dexter, and therefore I've never seen it. Yeah, so they're showing I mean, that Scotland channel, they show Benny Hill with a warning telling you that it's not politically correct. Then they show you In Sickness Till Death Us Do Part. They're showing the episodes that were made in the 70s on it. They're showing the goodies, and now they're showing it 8.5 Optimum. All the stuff I grew up with. And Porridge, you can watch them. I've seen them, I don't know how many times I've seen them. I pretty much know the script. Well, there you go. a good little combo there from distance by John Boo, and he's pinched another one, 7 racks to 6. So John Boo is well, there's something I've heard of, but again, of course, I've never seen. So he's making use of this handicap. Right, and what the hell's happened here? Stefan wins by forfeit, so Jesdev's done a runner. Right, let's see where we stand here. We've got Larry against Simanx, and it's 1 apiece. We've got John Boo waiting in the winner of that match. Let's look at the one loss side, a quick look. We've got Spectre Dawn. Looks as if he's going to go through against Christian. He's 3-1 up. And Stefan's about to play Bankster. So we're going back in to watch this match with Larry and Simanx. Never saw that either. I think I stopped watching telly. Oh, what was the last thing that I used? Well, put it this way, I stopped watching Coronation Street. I think I stopped watching Coronation Street when Mike Baldwin died. In the arms of Ken Barlow. That was, I think, the last time I saw Coronation Street. But my work hours have all changed. Everything like that's changed. Well, no sooner have I joined the room than I've jinxed Larry, because he's missed a duck there on the 7 ball. And Simanx is getting a 5 ball. I haven't seen EastEnders for an awful long time. I think, when did I can't remember the last time I watched EastEnders. I just don't have time. I think my time's far better spent in front of the PC. I get more enjoyment in that than crawling through YouTube and all that stuff than I do watching a television. It's usually only there as background noise when I'm having a cup of coffee, having my dinner. It's on. I mean, for example, tonight when I had my dinner, when I woke up at 5, what did I put on? I watched a bit of The Chase. I flicked back and forward to that other one in BBC One. What do you call it? The one. What do you call the other quiz in BBC One? Anyway, I watched a bit of that. And then at 6 o'clock, I switch it over and watch an old episode of Taskmaster. To about 6:30, and then I didn't see all of that. I then get ready for the stream. I watched, yeah, the Chase was good tonight. They won £60,000. Well, Spectre Dawn goes through, 4 racks to 1 against Christian. Oh aye, the other one that I watched at 6 o'clock, I was switching back and forward. What's the one with, what's his name? That one that's on every day of the week. Richard Osman thing. What's that called? I can't remember the name of half of these things, but I watched them. Yeah, Pointless. I think I've learnt more watching quiz shows than I have done. Well, I know for a fact I have. I've learnt more watching quiz shows over the years than I ever learnt at school. I mean, this will show you how old I am. I remember, what do you call one of the eggheads? What's his name? Him with the glasses. he was a Mastermind champion. I remember watching Mastermind when he won Mastermind. That shows you how far back that goes. When he won Mastermind, it was still Magnus Magnusson that was asking the questions. And he has got a brilliant brain, that guy. He's one of the top eggheads. What do you call him again? You know who I'm talking about, the one with the glasses. No, I know him. I watched Mastermind when he won Mastermind as well. The guy that used to drive the trains, he used to drive trains. No, the other one. The other one. You know, he's obviously he's been a not any of the new ones. He's one of the ones that was there right from the start. Not Barry. Not you can keep naming them. Oh, what the hell's he called now? See, that annoys me. I know I can see his face. I just can't get his name. But if somebody says his name, I'll know it's him. No, that not him. No, he's too new. He's Kevin. That's the one. That's the one. I watched Mastermind when Kevin and when Chris both won Mastermind champion, and Kevin had one of the highest scores. I think he pretty much answered everything, if I remember right. I don't think he got anything wrong. So he did. You know, he's got a brilliant brain. I mean all these people do is read and troll the internet. That must be all they do in their spare time, to just pick up, you know, stuff like that. And that's why they're good quizzers. And the thing is that when they learn something, it's stuck. It's in there. It's just the recall process that they need, and you've got to be quick, obviously, being in a quiz. But yeah, I've learned an awful lot of stuff watching these things. So, we've got Larry on the hill again, 6-3 up. Sim Hanks with a lot of work to do. And Larry, if he can get himself good on this 5 ball, I think if he come up the table and bumped to 9, it wouldn't do any harm. He had a bit of top nat to kill it. See, my memory's good as far as certain things go, but see, putting names to faces. Oh God. What the hell happened there? Was that Larry? I thought that was Larry that was at the table. I'm too busy reading the chat and rabbiting on here. Yeah, but you see, the thing is, the quizzers have got methods to remember things. You know, they remember things in stories, and made up stories. That's the technique for remembering, like, sequences and stuff like that. Well, the 6 ball is going to be the main problem for Larry here, because it's nowhere near set with a combo in the 7. But there's enough gap to make the cut on it. Oh, Fred Housego, that's another one. He was a London taxi driver. See, I know them all from back in the day when I used to watch Mastermind on a Sunday night. Yeah, Fred Housego, he was clever as well. But you see, that's a perfect example. I mean, what I was talking about there is learning sequences and things like that. If you look at Fred Housego, he was a London taxi driver, so that's a perfect memory test for him, because he has to learn the knowledge. You know, you have to learn all the streets in London, and he clearly had the brain for absorbing information and storing facts. So Larry can overcut that. Yeah, Fred Housego, there's a name I forgot. The guy with the glasses. Yeah, I remember him. Was that when he won it, 1980? Goodness me, that's Ah, it's 1980, May 1980 I finished school. That was me out. Fred Housego, London taxi driver. See, I remember. I don't know what Kevin's occupation was, but I do know that Housego's was a taxi driver and Chris was worked in the railway. Well, Larry marches on. I think that's him in the hot seat now, is it not? Yeah, he's up against John Boo. Now let's have another quick look in this one loss side, see what's happening there. We've got Stefan and Bankster. Bankster's 3-0 up. 3-0 up. And Spectre Dawn is waiting and the loser coming through. Yeah, he's waiting and the loser coming through from the hot seat match. That's what he's doing. We'll jump in and catch the end of this match with. It might well be over. Oh no, it's 2-0 to Bankster. I was trawling through the. I was looking to find when I got home yesterday. I was looking to find radio. What do you call it? Before I had switched the PC on, I wanted to listen to what was happening in the cricket. So when I got home yesterday, I was trawling through the pages on my telly to find Test Match Special. And then I found out that I didn't realise that I had that radio station that Ken Bruce has moved over to. And I didn't know that he was still doing his Popmaster quiz on it. Now that he's not with Radio 2 anymore. I've also noticed that there's a good few of the ex Radio 2 presenters are now working with the same radio station. That what's his name? Simon. What the hell's his name? There's 2 or 3 the well-known names have moved across to them. Whatever the name is. Aye, Simon Mayo, he's there. Yeah. They're obviously getting paid a good wage to move over there. But I think, Ken Bruce, I think, obviously moved before he was pushed. They've already got rid of what's his name for the afternoon show. Him that does Sunday. I'll listen to Sunday love songs when I'm on my tea break in the morning at work. I go out and eat my sandwiches in the car and I switch on. I only ever have the radio set to. It's either on Radio 2 in the car all the time, or occasionally when the football season's on, I'll put it to Radio Scotland when I'm driving home in the car. I never shift the radio to any other channels. I only need 2 channels in my radio in the car, Radio 2 and Radio Scotland. Yeah, I see it. I see that it's coming on the telly. Usually those things die a death. It's a bit like, for a short while, I think back in the 80s, Terry Wogan's radio show was, he had a show on the BBC. It didn't last long though. Oh yeah, I'm definitely stuck in my ways. Yep, Radio 2 or Radio Scotland only on the radio, and usually it's ITV4, Channel 50, BBC 1 and ITV, occasionally a bit of BBC 2, just depending on when I'm having my dinner. That's about it. Creature of habit. And sometimes I've got I've got a few things running on iPlayer that I start watching and then I stop watching them and then I go back to iPlayer and I can watch the end of them. I do a bit of that frequently, as well as on what do you call it, ITVX. I'll maybe trawl through the films and see if there's a film that was on that I missed and I'll maybe watch it. But again, usually only in short bursts, just to kill time. Well, we're all square here in this race to 4. So the push out has been played, but I don't think it was up to much because Stefan can clearly see the 1 ball. Well, I've probably got about 4 or 5 things that are running on iPlayer that each time I switch on iPlayer, you know, you've got the bit down where it says you want to continue viewing, and I've got about 4 or 5 things. I can't remember what they are. I think I'm still watching Apocalypse Now. I started watching that months ago. The Redux version, I've got that in DVD, but then again I don't have a DVD player anymore. It went bust and it went out in the skip, and I've never got one since, and I'm thinking I hardly ever watch this thing, so there's no need to get a new one. That's a great film, that film, so it is. If you've never seen it, it's a brilliant film, Apocalypse Now. There's certain films you've got to see. That's one of them. Most of the other films I say you've got to see, most of yous aren't interested in, but that's definitely a good film to watch. I remember seeing a report in the news when they were making Apocalypse Now, and I remember it reporting that Martin Sheen had a heart attack during the filming of it. No, I saw that online. I didn't get it on what do you call it, on a video. No, I saw it online. There's also a documentary, by the way, about that Debbie Does Dallas. It's pretty tragic. Have you ever seen that? Go on to Google and try and find that. There's a documentary. I think Debbie herself, or the character that played Debbie, I think she had a tragic end. So she did. And I don't know where I stumbled across that documentary. It might have been on YouTube. And I mean, I spend a lot of time looking at funny animals on YouTube and all. I don't know why. I spend my time looking at crazy parrots and macaws and crazy squirrels. I don't know what draws me to them. I mean, I sit there laughing. They're usually only short videos, 3 or 4 minutes. GeoBeats, I think it is one of the videos that keeps popping up. I'll watch them. I've got a sad life, so I do. Oh, I was watching, there was a documentary about, there's something I didn't know. See, I've learned something else. Last night I caught a bit of a documentary on the Sky Arts channel. Now there's a channel you want to keep an eye on now and again. There's some good documentaries on that Sky Arts channel, by the way. There was a 2-hour thing that was on last night about Peter O'Toole. And you know, there's quite a few videos on YouTube of Peter O'Toole and what's his name? What's the name of the other Irish actor? Christ, I've forgotten his name as well now. Oh Jesus! Why is my memories for names gone straight out the window? Richard Harris. That's the name I was trying to think of. There's plenty of videos of him and the other one telling stories about their drinking exploits. And singing Irish songs and stuff. But the one thing I discovered last night, that Peter O'Toole was by no means Irish. Yeah, I've seen Cromwell, but he was actually born in Leeds, but he had an Irish father, I think it was. But getting back to what I was talking about, what I discovered was that he had been approached to play Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings trilogy before what's his name got the job, and I can't remember who was telling the story in the documentary, but you want to hear what Peter O'Toole thought about that film. He said he was go to New Zealand for like 2 years to make these films, and he was using language that wasn't politically correct, shall we say. Right, so Bankster goes through, 4 racks to 2. Spectre Dawn and Simanx are going at it. We've got Larry and John Boo in the hot seat match. John Boo having taken out Spectre Dawn earlier on. And let's jump into that match. Richard Harris in A Man Called Horse. I remember seeing that film for the first time back in the 70s and seeing the ceremonial sequence that he does in the film, and that was scary at the time. I mean, I would have been what age would I have been? Maybe, I don't know, 12 or something like that. I think I saw that film for the first time. So if you've never seen A Man Called Horse, you need to watch that. Where he's hung up. He gets initiated into the tribe, and the sort of Indian, I don't know, medicine man starts hooking the claws into his chest, and then they strap him up and he's hanging there in mid-air, and I'm thinking, good God, how the hell did they do that as special effects? Because you had no CGI there. How the hell did they strap him up? It looked real as far as I was concerned. That's a good film to watch. And although he only plays, what's the part that he plays in that film, the Clint Eastwood film? I'm sure it's Unforgiven, isn't it? You've got, what's he called? English Bob. I think he plays English Bob. And he gets his shit kicked out of him by Gene Hackman. He's only in that film for a short while with a sort of cameo role. But Gene Hackman kicks the shit out of him. Well, Larry's in trouble here. John Boo getting that 5 ball. The only problem is he can't get the 3. Going to try and cut this in. Oh, got it too thin. Now where's the cue ball ending up? you've got to. I mean, a lot of you guys have got to get into the habit of watching some of these older films, and I blame my mother and father for that, because when we only had one telly back in the day, you had to watch what they were watching, and that's how I get into the habit of watching some of the older films. I bet you, have any of you ever seen Treasure of the Sierra Madre? There's a classic. I keep going on about that one. And you say to somebody, well, they say, well, when was that made? It was made in 1950 something. Who's in it? Humphrey Bogart's in it. Oh no, it's black and white. I don't want it. Well, you've got to watch it. Humphrey Bogart's brilliant in it. And of course, you've got the classic line from that film that was used in Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles. You've got to see Treasure of the Sierra Madre. One of my favourite films, seen it 100 times, could act it myself. I'll tell you, one of the more recent westerns, now it's not recent now, but I think it was one of the better westerns I've seen, or the better versions. I've seen umpteen versions of the gunfight at the OK Corral. There's a classic version which most of you won't have seen, and then there's Tombstone. I thought Kurt Russell was brilliant in that film. I really enjoyed it. In fact, I even really enjoyed the guy that played, what's the name of the guy that played Doc Holliday? He was brilliant as well in that film. I loved his character. I loved the character that he played, and how he portrayed it. He was brilliant. That's a good film to watch. Tombstone. I really enjoyed that, and that, I mean, that's a recent film as far as I'm concerned. But if you've never seen the classic version of that, it's the one with Kirk Douglas and Burt Lancaster. If only just to hear the theme song in it. That's brilliant as well. Gunfight at OK Corral. Great film. And that was made in the 50s in colour. Yeah, was it Val Kilmer? Yeah, he was great in that film. I'll be your Huckleberry. And then there's Mutiny and the Bounty. There's the old one, the original one, which again most of you won't have seen. That's the one with Clark Gable and what do you call him that played the Hunchback of Notre Dame. The old version of the Hunchback of Notre Dame. What's he called? Oh God, I can't remember his name. But you've got that version. Then you've got the Marlon Brando version, which is a good film. That's before the sort of modern one, The Bounty, with the Welsh actor in it, and is it Mel Gibson that's in it? I can't remember. Never heard of that. I've seen quite a lot of Charles Bronson's films. I've never heard of that one, whatever it is. Well, John Boot, 5-3 up. Larry trying to hang in there. I do like a good western. I say most of the westerns I like are all at least 60 years old. I've seen The Outlaw Josie Wales 100 times. I know pretty much all of the dialogue in that. Are you a bounty hunter? Yeah, a man's got to earn a living. Dying ain't much of a living, boy. Never seen that one, Red Sun. Watch the cue ball. Well, Larry's done it again. And here's John Boot with a golden opportunity to roll a 5-ball in to get to the hill. Well, if ever there's somebody that's got good use of this money ball tonight, it's John Boot. He's going to probably take out the 2 top seeds for the tournament by the look of it. Not doing that though, because he's immediately scratched. And Spectre Dawn survives a final rack decider with Simanx. Toshiro Mifune, I know him. Yeah. Well, it did everything but go in. Larry's going to scratch, is he? No. Oh, he's living on the knife edge here. I don't know what that was. It certainly wasn't a pot. Oh, cue ball. Larry's getting another bite at the cherry. Oh, I thought it was going to scratch. It stays on the table. There's another classic film I've gone on about in the past. Bad Day at Black Rock. Classic film. You've got Spencer Tracy playing the lead role in it. You've got Robert Ryan in it as the bad guy, and the guy who sort of runs the town. He's got the sheriff in his pocket. You've got the two heavies in it are played. The minor roles are played by Ernest Borgnine, and you've got what's his face. Oh, and his name was on the tip of my tongue. Now it's gone. He was in. What's the hell's he called? Why is it I can see their face, but the name isn't there? Oh God, what's he called? He was in Paint Your Wagon. You know who I'm talking about. Now you're going to say, what the hell's Paint Your Wagon? He was Clint Eastwood's sidekick in Paint Your Wagon. Well, he played, in the early days, in the sort of mid-50s, he played sort of heavy roles. He was a supporting actor until he became more famous. Oh, shit. He sings I Was Born Under a Wandering Star in the film. Not in the one I'm talking about, not in Bad Day at Black Rock. But again, made 1955, I think, when CinemaScope had just come out. Brilliant film. And it's amazing the amount of people that refuse to watch films that are made in black and white. Some of the best films you're ever going to see are made in black and white. Or simply because they were made in the 50s and stuff like that. And then you've got The Far Country with James Stewart. You've got Shenandoah with James Stewart. You've got John Boo in the final with a 7-4 win over Larry. You've got Winchester 73 with James Stewart. Loads of great films. Well, John Boo has taken out the 2 top seeds for the tournament tonight, getting used to that 5 ball, but the mistakes have been made all night, and John Boo's taking advantage of them. And he's got himself in the final, so Larry's going to have to battle it out, and one of them, whoever it might be, is going to have to vacate the building. We'll jump in and catch this match with Spectre, Dawn and Bankster. The winner of this will play Larry. Well, North by Northwest, you've got to see that one because that's got Cary Grant in it. You've got James Mason in it. You've got Rear Window with James Stewart again. You've got that one. Yeah, I've watched a lot. I was watching Strategic Air Command earlier on today. That's another one with James Stewart, where he's a baseball player and he's retired as far as his military service is concerned, and then he gets recalled to SAC, driving the big B-52s, or not driving, and piloting the B-52s or whatever they're called. Well, Escape from Alcatraz, that's a Clint Eastwood film made in round about 1980 or something like that, round about that time. I've seen that umpteen times. I've also seen the Eiger Sanction umpteen times. Psycho. Seen that. I've only properly seen that until the shower scene, and then I don't watch any more of it. No, I Rope. Yeah, you're correct in that. That's a film where it was set like mostly in the one room, and that's exactly what you're saying. I've seen. I think I've seen most of that. Yeah, Rope. Well, when you think about it, that other film, Rear Window. I mean, if you start to watch Rear Window, I mean, there's James Stewart sitting there in the bed or in his chair, his wheelchair, and he's got a broken leg, and there's a heat wave going on, and he's sitting like it, looking out on the backyard, and he witnesses what he sees as a murder. So basically, the whole film, for 95% of it, he's just stuck in the room looking out this window. That's why it's called Rear Window, and it's then about trying to convince his partner that he's seen this and what's going on and what's going on. And I think the if I'm right in thinking, the guy that he thinks he sees murdering somebody is Raymond Burr, Ironside. Well, talking of Steven Spielberg, I take it you've seen what's that one that he made? I think it's one of his first feature films, where the truck's chasing the car, What was the name of him that used to be? He used to be a detective. He was in a detective series in the early 70s. What's he called? Duel. Yeah, that's one of Steven Spielberg's first films, and I can't remember the name of the actor. He was in MacLeod, I think that, or was that? No, maybe I'm mixing that up with Rock Hudson. But Dennis Weaver, not Dennis Rodman. That's a bloody basketball player, wasn't it? Dennis Weaver. See, all you had to say was Dennis, and then I knew who it was, because again I could see his face, but I couldn't pick the bloody guy's name. Yeah, Joe is actually again it's a good film from the point of view that Dennis Weaver's talking to himself in his mind, and he's got himself all messed up with this truck, and you never, of course, see the driver of the truck. You only ever see his jeans. And they actually made it. I went, believe it or not, I paid money and went to the cinema and watched a similar film, but it was called The Car. I don't think it's ever aired in television. I've never seen it. This is a film that died a death, but it was a bit like Duel, and it was called The Car. It was probably made either the very late 70s or the early 80s, and I paid money and went to the cinema to watch this thing. And I don't know anybody that was in it. I can't remember any of the cast. And so that was a film that was it was a bit of a steal from that film with Dennis Weaver. Well, I've seen every Columbo that was ever made in the very early years. I never watched a lot of them that were made in the 90s, but I'm seeing all the repeats on a Sunday now anyway. But you know, there's loads of Columbos I could pretty much read the script to you as well. I've seen them 100 times. I think Peter Falk's absolutely brilliant as Columbo. The little mannerisms that he has, I just love watching him, and I've seen them a dozen times over. You've got Patrick McGoohan that's in about 4 different episodes of Columbo as the murderer. You've got George Hamilton III who's in a couple of episodes of Columbo. I've seen his version 100 times. Oh God. I could pretty much act them. Yeah, it would have been really very early in the series of Columbo. There we go. Bankster has taken out Spectre Dawn. So now it's all down to Larry then, isn't it? If he can take out Bankster, who's another dangerous one with a handicap. So let's get ourselves in there and get set. You've got there's an episode with Dick Van Dyke where he's a photographer, murders his wife. I love the way that some of the outcomes and you know the final gotcha scene in Columbo's come about. Dick Van Dyke gets done by the camera at the end of it. And then there's the episode where there's twins, and that is George Hamilton that gets done by that one. Now, there's something that I never seen an episode of. Murder, She Wrote with Angela Lansbury. Never ever saw an episode of it. See, that was when you think about it, when you look at Columbo, can you imagine can you imagine going to the TV execs and saying, I've got a great idea for a TV show. Aye, what is it? Is it another cop show? Well, it is a bit like that. Oh, is it a mystery? Oh yes, it's a mystery. Yeah, but it's not a mystery from the beginning because you already know who the murderer is. How do you mean? Well, you see the murder being committed. All right, so where's the mystery of it then? And well, the mystery is that Columbo then has to examine the evidence and get really down to the nitty-gritty before he finds the murderer. How's that going to sell? Well, good kick. And Larry might be getting a good roll here. This is spinning very nicely in behind the 7. He'll take that. But plenty of room to jump this and cut the 4. Talking of Minder, I was talking about Minder earlier on. You remember the episodes, there was quite a few episodes of Minder had Justin in it. You know Justin? The sort of young tearaway that with the fair hair. I didn't know he had died. He actually passed away. I can't remember what. I mean, he would only be in his 30s. I think he's already passed away. There's an obituary online, obviously. Oh, aye, things like that never. They seem to die a death. Crazy things like that. And of course, the thing about Columbo is, you never ever saw Mrs. Columbo. He would always talk about her. Oh, my wife would do this. My wife would do. Of course, the whole thing about it is you never see her. He went on that one. He was on the cruise. Was that not him that was in? He was in the Magnificent. Robert Vaughn. He was the bad guy on the cruise ship. And Columbo's supposed to be on a cruise with his wife. You never see his wife on the cruise ship. Another episode I've seen 100 times. Yeah, see, when they try and milk something and make something better out of it, they're always doomed to failure. Right, so Larry, in this race to 4, has got himself 2-0 up. But always, I mean, there always is a danger. It's not quite as dangerous because Bankster's getting the 8 ball, so he has to get there, but he can certainly find his way there. The worst spin-off show. Well, well, that's a hard one. But that depends. I mean, there's probably been a lot more spin-off shows made in the States that have all died a death that never saw the light of day over here. And then again, the spin-off shows over here that I might have seen, you know, probably a lot of anybody that's watching in the States would never have heard of them. Well, one that I never really watched that was a spin-off was Robin's Nest. which was a spin-off from Man About the House. And of course, the thing about Man About the House was that there was a couple of spin-offs from it. Certainly one that was a lot more successful than Robin's Nest was, and that was George and Mildred. You had of course Porridge. I used to watch that on a regular basis. Little House on the Prairie early on, because there was nothing else on at the time. Yeah, you had Porridge, and then of course you had Going Straight, which I think only lasted one series, and I think it wasn't getting the viewing figures, and I think mainly because it was supposed to obviously show you how Fletch was doing on the outside, but the whole thing about Porridge was not so much just the character of Fletch in Slade Prison. It was all the supporting characters that were around him. You know, you didn't have Grouty in it, you didn't have Lukewarm, you didn't have Bunny Warren, you didn't have all those characters, and I think the audience were watching Going Straight, imagining that these characters were going to suddenly pop up, and they never ever appeared. So it didn't get the viewing figures, so it died a death. And the thing is, I can remember all the words to the theme song as well. I'm going straight, I am. That shows you how sad I am. Straight as an arrow, I'm coming home, I've done my time. That is how sad I am, because I've seen them 100 times. You can't help but remember them. How did we go on to talking about televisions and films? Who started that? Was it me? I was talking about quizzes earlier on. Oh, Dad's Army. Now here I've got a bit of trivia of Dad's Army. I can let you know about. It's on YouTube if you want to see it. And if you watch the Dad's Army programs that were made about Dad's Army, if you know what I mean. I never watched that. Prisoner Cell Block H. There was too many ugly women in it, and I made a point of not watching it for that reason. No, what was it I was saying? Aye, Dad's Army. You had Bud Flanagan, who came in to record the song, the theme song, and then like a week after he died. And Bud Flanagan was famous back in the day with his partner Chesney Allen Flanagan and Allen. They were old time music hall. They appeared in films and stuff during the war. But they actually, when they made the theme tune for Dad's Army, you had "Who do you think you are kidding, Mister?" There's actually an extra few lines in that song that they cut out. I think just to shorten the opening intro. But the proper full version of it, there's another couple of lines and it's on YouTube. That's a little bit of trivia that every Dad's Army fan would know about. That's the only one where the film was actually quite successful. When they made the film of Dad's Army, it was quite a good film. Not the one that they made more recently. The one that they made in the early 70s. It was quite a good move to the film. Because usually when these type of things go to a film, they're crap. I'm trying to think of the extra lines. It was, "Who do you think you're kidding, Mr. Heather? If you think we are the boys who will stop your little game. We are the boys who will make you think again. So, no, so then it's, so watch out, Mr. Hitler, you have met your match in us. If you think you'll crush us, then you've really missed the bus," or something like that. Then it's, "Who do you think you are hitting, Mr. Hitler? If you think old England's..." That's it. There's an extra couple of lines and it's something to do with "miss the bus" and "crush us" and stuff. But they cut it out just to shorten the opening intro. Now there you've learned something. That's something that can stick in your mind for a pub quiz at some point in the future. I'm full of stuff like that. Michael Caine's, you've seen Michael Caine on Parkinson when his brain's full of boring, useless information. I'm a bit like that. I'll learn something about something and then it sticks in my mind. I don't know why, it's just kind of trivial, daft, boring things that stick in my mind that nobody's interested in. Right, well, Larry's on the brink here. He's 3-1 up. And Bankster can't afford any mistakes. That might be a mistake there. He's bumped to 9. And it's locked up the 8. I think it's pretty much locked up. No, it isn't. It does go. No, does it go? Oh, well, I think it does go. If he can get on it, that is. Yes, yes, useless facts. Well, that fact about, see that fact I was talking about earlier on about how many congratulation cards do you get for the king when you're 100, between 100 and 110. Having learned that, that's locked away now. That's permanent. I'm just trying to think of the next occasion where I could bring that up and it could be of any interest. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups now. Where it would be of any interest. Well, this is well done for Larry. He survived. And so the tournament is just gone 2 hours and 10 minutes. I didn't think it would be much more than 2 hours. It'll probably get to 2.5. So we have a final. And, well, again, Bankster's come in the money. He's come in probably not a lot more money than he put in because of the smaller field, but he's come out with 195, so he's made a profit. That's all you're looking for is a profit. So it's Larry and John Boo in the final, and John Boo's looking to take out Larry for the second time. And let's get ourselves in there. Now, while I've got your attention, I'm just going to go back to give ourselves, oh hang on a minute, we're just at the lag. John Boo on the right. John Boo, of course, still getting the 5 ball. That's never going to win it. John Boo on the right, he's way short. So Larry has won the lag. We'll just tab out there now because I want to go just to remind viewers, in case something else has maybe been added to this as well. So tomorrow night at 8 o'clock we've got Cobra against Bedhead in the 8-ball bar table World Championships, and then the next match scheduled after that's the one on Tuesday at 7 PM with Bankster and Brainfill out. I'll have that. And then next Saturday, a week tomorrow, we've got Larry and Semi Pro, so I should have all of those matches. And back to the business in hand. Larry's in. So first block to Larry. I think this one's dry. Did I get that wrong? No, John Boo won the first rack. What am I talking about? I'm definitely falling asleep. I've I'm not even paying attention to who's at the table. Well, he's got to stud this and spin it like that, but not too much. Well, it looks fairly comfortable here for Larry to square the match. There's not any visible problems here. Now, did I say the other day there? I think I watched for the very first time. I watched pretty much all of The Exorcist, and I remember all of the sort of fuss at the time when this film came out. I'd never seen it, and I think it was on a couple of weeks ago, and I watched, I think it might have been on iPlayer as a matter of fact, and I think I watched most of it, and I thought it was hilarious. I think it was only, I don't know whether, people, whether they were talking about people fainting and having to get taken out of cinemas. I think it was maybe the shock of the fact that this young girl was using disgusting language and that type of thing. But in terms of it being scary, I just thought it was funny. I thought when I compared it, I thought Poltergeist was more scary than The Exorcist. But I didn't realise that the actual Exorcist himself was what's his name? Him that played. I think he played. Who did he play? What's his name? That he's a German actor. I didn't know it was him that played the Exorcist in it, but I thought it was more a comedy than anything else. And then I'm thinking, well, what's all the bloody fuss about? Yes, this is the final already, Spud Boy. You should have been here. You should have got yourself in it. There was only 9 in tonight. People have got other things to do. It's maybe good weather in certain places. I don't think I've ever seen that, Rosemary's Baby. Max von Sydow, that's it. Did he not play Ming? Now there's a movie that's became a cult film. Flash Gordon. That film became a cult film with Brian Blessed in it. And of course the music from Queen. Because it's made like when you watch something like Flash Gordon, you have to bear in mind that you had Flash Gordon with Buster Crabbe in it, which was made back in the sort of 30s or late 30s, and it was a serial that was showed in the cinemas. And so when you watch something like Flash Gordon the movie, you have to watch it because it's a bit sort of tongue-in-cheek, based on that sort of style of making that sort of thing back in the day. Where the guys have got wings and they're supposed to be flying across the sky and all of that stuff. I think there's other sort of really crappy special effects films that couple of them, those monster films with Doug McClure that were made in the 70s. One of them's got Peter Cushing in it. Journey to the Centre of the Earth or something like that, I can't remember. There's a couple of them that were made, and the monsters in them are absolutely hilarious. Oh, there was also another film I caught a glimpse of on that Channel 82, Gorgo. That's hilarious. With Bill Travers in it, made in the 50s. It was supposed to be a monster film. Off the coast of Ireland, they discover there's a monster, and they take it to London like King Kong, and suddenly its big mother comes to rescue it. That's absolute crap. It's so crap, it's hilarious. Especially when you see the monster. A guy in a rubber suit. And the jaw jumping up and down in this monster. Oh dear. Yeah, the ones with Doug McClure are really funny. I used to watch Doug McClure in the Virginian. There's a Western series that used to be shown over here. Used to watch that. Doug McClure played the character of Krampus in that. He was also in that film with James Stewart, Shenandoah. Never seen that one. That must have been something made fairly recently, because anything made fairly recently, I can guarantee I'll never have seen it. And if you ever get a chance, go and crawl through YouTube and watch the clips out of Police Squad. They're hilarious. You've got to watch some of those. There's plenty of little clips on YouTube out of Police Squad with Leslie Nielsen. I remember watching Police Squad when it first came over here, and I'm thinking, I can't wait for the next series of this to come out. This is hilarious. And there was only one series of it. I thought it was brilliant. But then, not long after that, they brought out Airplane. And as soon as I saw Leslie Nielsen in it and saw clips of that, I thought, oh, this is made by the same team. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, John Boo's got away with it again. There's something else I've never seen. Hawk the Slayer. You know what else I've never seen? Conan the Barbarian. It's probably about one of the only films with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it I haven't seen. Well, Larry's got himself, John Boo's got himself in the lead again, and Larry's in trouble already. Well, I don't think you can see the one. You certainly can't. because obviously there is a 1-9 combo there, but looking to get a decent hit, and oh, I'll tell you, if he'd hit that a wee bit harder, he might have got away with it there. And Larry plays the bank for the combo. Back to within 1. Leslie Nielsen in the Poseidon Adventure. I think he's about 3 lines in it, and then before you know it, he's sunk. That's him gone. He only had a cameo role in that as the captain of the ship, and he went down. And then you've got, and then now when you talk about, see there you were talking about, you know, what's the spin-off, you know, spin-off movies. You've got Beyond the Poseidon Adventure with bloody Telly Savalas in it. I mean, that was crap. I don't know why the hell they decide they want to go after the treasure that's on the ship or whatever the hell it was. I don't even remember the proper story of that film. But that's where again they thought about making a buck out of the success they had with the first film. You know, Gene Hackman in the first film. I think there's certain actors where if I see a certain actors in a film, then I know I've got to watch it. Gene Hackman's one of them. Now, what one's Krull? I get mixed up. There's one with a big hairy dog in it. What the hell film's that? Am I mixing that up with the one that's a bit like Alice in Wonderland? What do you call that film? What the hell's that? I get mixed up. What's the one with David Bowie in it? That always mixes me up. Is Krull the one with Jim Henson's Muppets in it? Something like that. I get confused with those films. There's a couple of those films that confuse me, and I think Krull is one of them. What's the one with the big dog in it and the girl? Is that the same thing? And David Bowie's in it. Never Ending Story, that's the one. Labyrinth. See, I'm getting mixed up with 3 films. Labyrinth, Krull, and Never Ending Story. And is Krull the one with the, I'm sure, or Dark Crystal? See there, I'm confused again. Dark Crystal's the one with the sort of Jim Henson Muppet things in it. I'm sure it was him that was involved in that. Yeah. And I'll tell you something, I've never watched any of them. You know that? I've never watched any of them. Although I've seen clips of them, if you know what I mean. But they always confuse me. I always get mixed up with all of them. Well, you've got The Man Who Fell to Earth, is the only David Bowie film I've ever watched. That's a kind of weirdish film. That was made in the sort of maybe like mid-70s or something like that, with Bowie in it. Well, Larry's 6-3 down, he's having to battle. You know what film I actually liked? And I have seen that one all the way through. That one with Jackie Chan. The remake of, what do you call it? Karate Kid. I actually quite liked that version of that film. I liked the Jackie Chan version. I thought it was quite good. And clearly he was a troubled character in that film. Well, this is not a gimme. This is not easy. I mean, he should be on the 6 ball, but this is not in the bag, this 5 ball. And he's nailed it. The Searchers was on the other day. There's a film I've seen goodness knows how many times with John Wayne and him that played Jesus. Karate Grandad, more like. Yeah, The Colour of Money. That's again. I mean, I've been over these 100 times. You've got to see Cool Hand Luke. If you've never seen Cool Hand Luke, you've got to see that. That is a classic. George Kennedy in it. I could eat 50 eggs. Nobody could eat 50 eggs. I mean, it's worth watching. It always is worth watching Cool Hand Luke just to see the girl washing the car. I mean, you've got to see that. Good evening to Spectre Dawn. Well, is John Boo going to scalp the 2 favourites tonight? Well, he won't doing that. Yeah, you've got to watch the car wash scene out of Cool Hand Luke. That is a must. Oh, I never knew that. That's an interesting fact I didn't know. But the thing is that a lot of those westerns were made in and around the area where they were doing the atomic testing, and that's where a lot of not only actors but them that worked in the production side of the film, a lot of them contracted cancers from it, they believe. Yeah, folk get inspired from some movies, and probably back in the day when they made the original film, not The Colour of Money, when they made what do you call it? What the hell was the film called? Now I've totally forgotten the name of the film. The one with Minnesota Fats in it. When they made the original, I think there was a lot more pool rooms in the States back then than what The Colour of Money would have done for actually opening pool halls now. I just cannot remember half the name of these bloody films now. The Hustler, that's it. And I've seen it a number of times now. I can't remember the title of the film. Christ almighty. I think it's the time of night, because I keep telling you my brain's shut down. Well, I think my memory side of my brain is shut down at this time of night. Jackie Gleason. George C. Scott in The Hustler. I'll tell you, is it Lee Jai Cobb? What was the name of the detective that was in that? Because when I saw him, I had missed the opening credits of the film when I said I had watched The Exorcist for the first time and saw most of it. I had missed the opening credits, so I didn't know who was in it. But when I saw the detective in it and I saw that he had a bald head, I'm thinking that looks like Lee Jai Cobb. That was in the Exorcist. I didn't know he was in it. It's amazing what you find out. In fact, most folk won't remember that that Harrison Ford was in Apocalypse Now. You know, blink and you'll miss him, because it's right at the beginning of the film. And most folk will probably, if you ask people who's in Apocalypse Now, well, they'll say, what's his name? He's the Colonel with the helicopters. What do you call him? Who was also in the Godfather films with the baldy head. What do you call him? You know who I'm talking about. The guy that likes the smell of napalm in the morning. What's his name? There's another actor I've totally forgotten about. I can see his face as clear as day. Can I think of his name? No. Well, I don't know. We've got on to talking about, I think I started off talking about quiz shows, and then we got on to films, and I don't know how the hell it got there. But now I won't be able to sleep tonight unless somebody gives me the guy's name. What the hell's his name? He played the concierge in The Godfather. Come on, give me his name. Oh, Robert Duvall. I've just remembered it. There you go. Robert Duvall. Now, how was I talking about him a minute ago? Because I've totally forgotten that now. Why was I trying to think of Robert Duvall? Aye, because I was talking about Harrison Ford. Nobody will remember that he's in Apocalypse Now. So he's in it for like 5 minutes. He's got 2 or 3 lines to say when they're briefing Martin Sheen on the job that he's got to do. That's to find Marlon Brando and neutralise him. And he's there giving him the paperwork. And then that's it. He's out the film. You never see him again. I wonder how much you get paid for that. It's amazing if you just actually saw the paycheck that you got for being in that film. I bet you got a few $100,000 for that. And Marlon Brando, what did he get paid? Did he get paid $1 million or so much for being in? I think a lot of directors didn't want to. When you hear a lot about Marlon Brando, a lot of people didn't like to work with him because I think he was bad at learning his lines, that sort of stuff. I don't think he really. I don't think he took it that seriously, the acting part of it, in terms of learning his lines and stuff. $1 million a day or something. I mean, when you think about it, when you watch the film, it's probably a good hour and a half before you're ever going to see him. But that's the whole thing about that film. When you watch Apocalypse Now, it's all about the build up and the portrait that's painted of this. That's why I love that film, because you're listening to Martin Sheen going over how this, what this guy's career was like, how he was a top-notch soldier, and how he's ended up the way he is. He's trying to get inside his head. He's trying to work out what's led him to be doing the stuff that he's doing. And then, of course, you've got a sort of cameo role by, what's his name? Now, what do you call him? He was in loads of cult films. And he just died not that recently, not too far ago. What's his name? Oh, no, he was also, I mean, we're talking about a guy who was in Gunfight at the OK Corral, the one with Kirk Douglas. He had a part in that. He was one of the Clanton gang, the young kid. What's his name? Oh, God. There's another name. I can't go to bed without remembering his name. I'll have to Google it. Oh, dear. Ape. What the hell's he called? Again, I can see the guy's face as clear as day. And he was in Apocalypse Now. He's the first sort of character that Martin Sheen meets when he gets to the place where Marlon Brando is. And he's sort of on drugs, if you know what I mean. Was he not an Easy Rider as well? What the hell do you call him? Anyway, you'll know who I'm talking about. Oh, the Dirty Dozen. Well, Charles Bronson was in that. Ernest Borgnine was in the Dirty Dozen. So there's Lee Marvin and Ernest Borgnine. They were in Bad Day at Black Rock together. They were also in that. But the time that they were in the Dirty Dozen, they were much more famous actors than they were back in the 50s. Well, Yul Brynner wasn't in the Dirty Dozen, I can tell you that for a start. Yul Brynner wasn't in it. Are you doing that to test my knowledge? Yul Brynner wasn't in the Dirty Dozen. Yeah, the Magnificent Seven. He played Chris. And then, of course, you had the follow-ups to the Magnificent Seven movies, which were all crap. And Eli Wallach was in, of course, probably a couple of the most iconic westerns. You had Eli Wallach playing the bad Mexican guy in the Magnificent Seven, and you also had him playing Tuco in The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. See, who the hell played the character of Chris in the second film? I don't think I ever watched the second film. I think I've seen tiny bits of it, of the Magnificent Seven, but no. No, I've never watched any follow-ups like that. Well, that's of course what the Magnificent Seven was based on, the Seven Samurai. So, John Boo is on the hill and Larry is battling for survival, but he's hooked. Oh, now, oh, look at this for a jammy sod. That was actually probably cutting into the side pocket. The cue ball comes back across and cuts it into the top pocket instead. Oh, I'll tell you something. I think Larry's going to get out of jail here big time with that shot. He's got right out of jail. What a jammy get that is. I would have loved to have had the replay for that. Yeah, he definitely tried it. Well, he can only win it now, can't he? He can only win it after that shot. Well, the tournament has been on for 2 hours and 42 minutes. And I'm going to get to bed early. But good match to watch tomorrow night. The one with Cobra and Bedhead. And the what the hell's it called again? The 8 ball. Now I'm still trying to think of the name of that other actor that was in. Somebody go and Google it and find out the list of actors in Apocalypse Now and tell me his name, or I can't go to bed. Somebody Google it, please, and just find out the cast of characters for Apocalypse Now, and give me his name, and that way I can sleep comfortably, because I cannot go to bed. He was also, as I say, he was in the gunfight at the OK Corral with Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas. No, not Martin Sheen. No. No. No, I'm talking. If you've ever watched Apocalypse Now, when Martin Sheen goes to the jungle and finally meets up, he has to make a connection with somebody that knows what's his name? That knows Marlon Brando, and that's the character I'm talking about. He looks as if he's on Dennis Hopper. That's the name. Dennis Hopper. Thank God for that, or I would never have slept. Right, so he was in a number of classic movies, and most of the time he was just a supporting actor. Yeah, he was very underrated, Dennis Hopper. And he was in an Easy Rider as well. And he did die fairly recently. I mean, maybe a year or two ago. So he did. But very underrated. Brilliant character actor he was. A bit like Strother Martin. Strother Martin, you know, he only had probably one of his biggest roles was actually in Cool Hand Luke. But most of the time Strother Martin was a supporting actor. And I just love him as the characters that he played. He'd only little bit parts. He was in True Grit. But no, he was in what was the second one? Rooster Cogburn. He was in that. He only was in it for a couple of one scene. He was in it. And there's some actors that are just worth seeing them for that little scene. Well, Larry can only stumble and fall here. He's a bit awkward in this 8-ball though. Now if he wants to check this up, and he has done, it was always risky, but he's going to get there, and Larry gets revenge. And in goes the 9. So revenge is sweet, but what a shot he got away with there, Larry, to survive. It's a win by 9 racks to 8, and at 9:45 or 9:46 PM Friday night 9-ball is over. So tomorrow night we've got a good match to see in the 8-ball Bar Table World Championships. I hope you can join us, and thanks for your company, guys, tonight. My head's spinning now with all these films and stuff. But I can now sleep that I know that Dennis Hopper was in that film, was in Apocalypse Now. I can go to bed and I can sleep. I would never be able to sleep without knowing his name. So I'm going to bid you good night, chaps. I might get a quick coffee, and hopefully you can join us tomorrow night. If you can't, you can always watch it on YouTube. It'll be there. I'll have it uploaded, or it will be saved automatically in YouTube. So till then, take care, and we'll see you again soon.